Okay, market just closed Wednesday. They closed at the low of day, at least the major indices did. So let's start with the SPY. I'm on the 1 hour. Let's do the daily. It's been a pretty horrendous week. I mean, the big engulfing bearish candle was Friday. It started a bit indecisively, but then the trend continued lower yesterday, Tuesday, and now closed at the low of day. It wasn't the most exciting day, but the close is very significant. And in this case, is closing at the low of week so far. So I expect tomorrow we continue, and my general thesis remains intact that we go and close the week, or at least at some point touch this ascending support sometime this week. So it could actually happen tomorrow at this point. But at least, yeah, tomorrow or Friday, I think we touch this. And it'll be very important to see how we close on the weekly candle. Not just the SPY, but the Nasdaq and the Dow, of course. The Nasdaq, very similar, close at low of day on that ascending support. I think tomorrow it gives way and it goes down, maybe 294. The Dow was a bit weaker, actually, weaker than the SPY and the Nasdaq, and that's got another about 1% to go until it hits its ascending support. And the Russell has not been as weak as I thought it would be, but anyway, it'll probably also end up down 2 or 3% by the end of the week, maybe. So not the weakest day for the markets, but significant close at the low of day. Likewise, the dollar, nothing too substantial, just sideways action. But the longer it consolidates and doesn't break down, the more likely we just go higher, which I still see happening. If we look at the VIX, actually, that was red. You'd expect it to be green when the markets are red, but again, it was such a sort of slow drop, nothing too powerful. So the VIX being down 1.5%, not even, is not too alarming either. That too, I think, will probably consolidate and go up a little bit more, running into tomorrow, Thursday, and end of week Friday. So nothing crazy today, but still closing at low of day. I think we're setting up for a bit of a flush tomorrow. Let's look at yields very quickly. They've reset right now, but the 2-year closed at the high of day. It's actually a new high. So that's pretty significant, I would say. Basically 3.5. I don't see any resistance until 5, really. So yeah, that should continue up. The 10-year, these have been creeping back up. People haven't really been talking about these too much. A lot of people watch the 10-year. Obviously, we're inverted too. Compare the 2s and the 10s. But, as the 2 marches on towards 4 or 5%, sorry, that is 5%, isn't it? Yeah. Then the 2-year will go towards its old high of 3.5 and take that out. And the 30-year likewise take its 3.5 out. So the yields just keep rising up. I think we're going to have a real problem soon. I think the recession and the problem with rates and inflation is going to hit a bit of a trigger point soon. So yeah, markets low of day, continuing lower, yields high of day, continuing higher. The dollar will continue higher, following those markets. Gold and silver. Now I'm recording this video sort of 1.5 hours after market close, so we're technically trading again, but gold closed also at low of day. So that's inching closer and closer towards 1700, which we'll probably test tomorrow. Silver had a very weak day, closed at low of day. I thought this might happen. I thought it might flush, and we did technically flush. So the metals remain pretty weak, which is what was expected. Now, I did anticipate. Well, I didn't anticipate. I was curious to see how silver would react once it took out this low. Now, we took out this low. We closed at low of day. That's perfect combination for a continuation down. So let's see what happens tomorrow and Friday. Let's see if we go towards the low 17s, 17.5 and ultimately $17 is where I see the next decent support. And then gold will obviously test 1700, maybe breach that, and we know that 1670 to 1680 is a good support, but let's see what happens. What's very intriguing is the miners. So we've still got the close marked in here with the prices. GDX is down over 1%, whereas GDXJ is green. That is not often the case. And GDX looks more like the silver chart, whereas GDXJ looks like the gold chart, which also is never really the case. It's usually the other way around. So it's a good opportunity for the bulls, I think, to get aggressive in the GDXJ since it's showing strength, because the GDXJ being stronger than GDX is a bullish signal, even though we're going down. I just think it's good for those trying to catch this falling knife for a reversal play. So I'm very encouraged by that. Also, if you look at and just before we look at individual stocks, GDXJ really is sort of trying to curl, trying to put a bottom in here just where its prior low was. So it's trying to put a double bottom in here, whereas GDX has already breached and is sort of following silver's footsteps towards the next support, which for GDX is 23. I identified that in the last video. GDXJ, well, we are at a support zone, but the next one would be 28. So it wasn't a crazy move, but these are significant, these sort of discrepancies. So, and it's also something that's already been happening. I noticed GDX was weaker than GDXJ in the last couple of videos. And if we look at some individual stocks, such as those that I hold, now I saw it during, so CDE, a typical junior, medium size silver, that was green, like GDXJ, whereas you got stocks like, Mag Silver, Agnico Eagle, Newmont down 2.5%, 3%. That's normally when you'd see these big senior stocks down 2, 3, 3.5%, you expect these CDE, EXK, FSMs, even AG, you'd expect them down sort of 5. So when you see these sort of unchanged, I mean, First Majestic's basically unchanged. I think EXK and Fortuna were almost green at some point today. I mean, they are sort of GDXJ stocks, so it's not too surprising, but it stands out for me. It stands out when you see these seniors decently red and these sort of not as much or even green. So I'm just going to keep it short today. I just thought it wasn't the most exciting day, but the close was significant. And the main takeaways being the markets closing at end of day lows. Gold and silver also at their lows, end of day. Nothing changes in terms of rates and dollar, looking like they want to keep going up. But the sort of special guest being the GDXJ being strong and even green, whilst you have silver down 2%. So that's bullish, even though we're sort of continuing to grind lower because of the markets. I think what that signals is silver stocks are seriously oversold. They want to go up, but the market's still forcing them lower. So I think it's going to be a very nice knife to catch when you get the bottom. I think even buying now is good. I've already bought this zone yesterday. So I don't need to buy any more right now, but if we go to the next level of support, especially after a flush, I'll probably start buying heavy. I also want to try and catch everything when the markets, for example, the SPY, when I think that has reached its ascending support. So I think once we get down here, another 1.5%, I'll buy for a nice pump in the GDXJ, the silver stocks. I might sort of trade that, but I'm obviously still holding a core position. So anyway, let's see. Tomorrow, I still expect markets to go lower. Yeah, we'll catch up then. Thank you.